Welcome learners. In the last session, what we understood was the entire basic creation for the list. Now, in this session, we're going to understand binary trees. So you probably would have heard your DSA teachers saying that the tree has to be balanced. Well, there is going to be a node which has got a child node to the left and another node to the right. In this case, if the nodes are not balanced, the tree is going to fall down. Well, the app is going to go crashing down. Why this would happen, and in fact, the same trees concept, how it gets implemented into widgets, we're going to understand in much more details. Tune in into the session, and I'll guarantee if you were striving to understand about widget trees for Flutter, you're going to get a very clean example and understand it from the very beginning in this particular session. So let's dive in. Let's dive into the session wherein I'm going to show to you how the page 2 will start to display my entire list. So this is my page 2. Like in case of page 1, here I am creating a pending tasks list. So basically, this will be some random task that I would add. Let's say buying grocery, followed by going for a movie, eating biryani, followed by reading a book, and finally taking a long nap. Well, let's say these are all the pending tasks I would want to do in one particular day. Now, I would want to show this list items in the form of every app item or the list item to have a new design. Let's see. We have this buying grocery. So over here, I would try to put a left side icon. Again, this is purely for testing purpose. Next, I'll try to duplicate this, and next have this icon on the right side. Let's say for my second item, going for a movie, I'll try to put the icon on the right side. This again, because it will be having different items on every list view, so I'll keep over here one list view widget, and over here I'll try to have the list view children. I'll put list tile dot divide tiles and outside the bracket just mention toList. Well, what do you notice? The entire error went away, and I can try putting my own list tile. Now, giving a small recap of what was the list tile. So this tile was a by default widget which comes bundled with the Flutter, and I can use this to show up my title, wherein I'll say that I want to say the pending task, and that too the first item. Now, when I try to do a hot reload and then just dive into my app, wait, I get to see this error. Now, coming to the logcat, I'll try to see field assertion context not equal to null. Well, what's the context? So look over here. Every time you wrote anything to be a stateless widget, or in fact, when I just go onto my calculator app, you had anything to be extending the state. You had this build function which always took in one parameter to be the context. So let's say over here, now when I'm in page 2, what I notice, the list tile does not have a context. So I'll put over here, let's say I'll change this variable name as context received. I'll put the context as context received and then try to hot reload. This time it loads perfectly well. So what is so special about this context variable, and why every time when you are trying to create a new widget, you have to mandatorily add the context received? So here we are trying to go and dig deeper into the widget tree. Perhaps in YouTube or many blogs you would have heard about widget tree into Flutter. If that would have been very confusing, now I'll break it down for you. That's because we're going to see the widget tree from the very root. That's my main function. On the day one, when we were writing the code, from the main function, we moved to the home screen. Let's try and see. So here's my main.dart file, and from my app, we go to the home screen. So I'll put over here home screen. When I come to the home screen, you'll notice each time I do a navigator.push, there is a context being used. Let's try and see. If I would now try to draw the widget tree, I have my home screen which has got these many branches: timer screen, calculator screen, and then my page views. For the page views, I already have this. So let me take a copy of this, paste it here, and try to drag the entire diagram over here. I'll connect the arrow from here to here. So what you notice is this entire widget tree, everywhere the tree is connected to some or the other parent. For example, when we came onto page 1, so over here we had our list view builder. This list view builder kind of had 7 items as children which are there. But did you notice it still has got a parent? However, when it came to the page 2, when I tried to create my list view over here, I kind of not provided this context. So basically what happened? Did you notice this link? Perhaps if you have gone into depths of data structures, you will be noticing that there is node or a binary tree which has to be balanced in case of data structures. So this tree which is having this node did not exist. Hence, this list view kind of does not know who the parent is, and when over here, when I try to run the code, it stands aloof, not knowing which tree it should be getting or which branch it should be getting attached to. Hence, when you give a context, it kind of draws this line. It tells where exactly this list tile should be positioned in the tree, and hence you can see this particularly well. That's my build context, guys. So you should be having now an idea that whenever we were trying to navigate, this was kind of mandatory. That's because this timer screen is now being attached to the home screen. So it knows who's the parent. If you fall or if you fail to remind what is the parent, then the widget is kind of laid off and it will not know what UI it should be kind to show. So with this, what do we understand is our list tile now with the context received will show me, and then I can try putting a trailing icon here like icons dot this plus symbol. Next, on the next item, I'll try removing the trailing and putting the leading icon. Well, that's kind of a really bad design that I'm going to try and put up. And if I try to do a hot reload, it kind of looks like this. Well, what I am trying to bother about is only showing to you how we can customize each and every item into my list view. It's not limited to only list tile. What I can try and do is put lot many components into the list and then have a combination of them to be there. For example, let's say inside the list tile, I want to show two text boxes, one below the another. I can put one column and I'll see first text below this, second text, and I'll make the main axis size to be minimum, which kind of will ensure that I don't have an infinite long column. When I now try to do a hot reload, you get to see this particular item. So on and so forth. Instead of first text, I can try copy pasting my pending task and I'll try putting over here one curly brace. And that's my final item. When I try to do a hot reload, you get to see that I want to do eating a biryani and reading a book cumulatively. Hopefully, the entire widget tree is now a piece of cake for you to understand. In the next session, what we're going to start towards is collecting the data for our custom list. What we will be trying to do is having all the images that will be getting downloaded over the internet and then displayed onto the app. In fact, we are also going to have our custom model that will show all these images. If this seems to be intriguing, stay tuned and we will be ensuring that you can create any kind of a list from scratch into your Flutter app.